Hi, I'm Melissa, your free range psychic. Today is Sunday, March 7th, 2021. Today I am going to do a past life study on Stacey Abrams as the possible reincarnation of Eleanor Roosevelt. I know a lot of psychics have seen her as George Washington. Well, we have many incarnations, and she very well could have been George Washington in another life. But when I asked my guides, they directed me to Eleanor Roosevelt. And when I started to put the pictures of each together in the intro, I really began to notice marked similarities there. I wonder if you do. I am going to review some of the background from Wikipedia that I grabbed regarding both women because their trajectories seem to overlap in terms of their careers. They have a lot in common, actually. Anna Eleanor Roosevelt was born October 11th, 1884, and then she died November 7th, 1962. She was an American political figure, diplomat, and activist. Served as the First Lady of the United States from March 4th, 1933 to April 12th, 1945. During her husband, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's 4 terms in office, which made her the longest serving First Lady. She also served as the United States delegate to the United Nations General Assembly from 1945 to 1952. And President Harry S. Truman called her First Lady of the World in tribute to her human rights achievements. She was born to the prominent American families of Roosevelt and Livingston, and was a niece of Theodore Roosevelt. Apparently she had an unhappy childhood, suffered the deaths of both parents at a young age, and also lost a brother. At 15, she attended finishing school in London, and then when she came back, she married her 5th cousin once removed, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, in 1905. She was the one who persuaded her husband to stay in politics after he was stricken with a paralytic illness in 1921, which caused the loss of the use of his legs, and she began giving speeches and appearing at campaign events in his place. He was elected to governor of New York in 1928, and then he became president of the United States, and she regularly made public appearances on his behalf. As her role as First Lady, she significantly reshaped and redefined her role, or the role of the First Lady for the future First Ladies. She was controversial, although widely respected at the time for her outspokenness, and particularly on civil rights for African Americans. She was the first presidential spouse to hold regular press conferences. She wrote a daily newspaper column. She wrote a monthly magazine column. She hosted a weekly radio show, and she spoke at a national party convention. On a few occasions, she actually publicly disagreed with her husband's policies. She launched an experimental community at Arthurdale, West Virginia, for the families of unemployed miners, later regarded as a failure. I'm not sure why. I guess we'd have to really go into that to see if it really was and what happened there. She advocated for expanded roles of women in the workplace, the civil rights of African Americans and Asian Americans, and the rights of World War II refugees. Following her husband's death in 1945, she remained active in politics for the remaining 17 years of her life. She pressed the United States to join and support the United Nations and became its first delegate. She served as the first chair of the UN Commissions on Human Rights and oversaw the drafting of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Later, she chaired the John F. Kennedy administration's Presidential Commission on the Status of Women. By the time of her death, Roosevelt was regarded as one of the most esteemed women in the world. Stacey Yvonne Abrams was born December 9th, 1973. She's 47, in Madison, Wisconsin. She is an American politician, lawyer, voting rights activist, and author who served in the Georgia House of Representatives from 2007 to 2017, and from 2011 to 2017, she was the minority House leader there. She's a member of the Democratic Party. She founded the Fair Fight Action, which is an organization to address voter suppression. Her efforts have been widely credited with boosting voter turnout in Georgia, giving us Ossoff and Warnock and our majority in the Senate, which has led to the passing of a massive relief bill for COVID. Almost. It's almost there. I think it'll be passed by, signed by Tuesday, signed by Biden into law. That was just a little bit of an aside, sorry. So she was educated in the Lyndon B. Johnson School of Public Affairs, also attended Yale Law School, Spelman College, University of Texas at Austin, and Yale University. She was a Democratic nominee in the 2018 Georgia gubernatorial election, becoming the first African-American female major party gubernatorial nominee in the United States. She lost, I'm going to say quote unquote, and we know how that election went, to Brian Kemp in an election marked by accusations that Kemp engaged in voter suppression as Georgia's Secretary of State. In February 2019, Abrams became the first African-American woman to deliver a response to the State of the Union address. Let's get on to the reading. I'm using the Ciro Marchetti Gilded Tarot. This card represents both Eleanor Roosevelt and Stacey Abrams. This is the Empress, and my guide said this simply means they are both women of power. And they are channeling the archetypal Empress. They are role models for all women. And all humans. Above is the Knight of Cups. My guides say this indicates or symbolizes both Abrams and Eleanor Roosevelt using their lives' energy, using their incarnation in service to lift everybody up. Their actions for human rights, for voting rights, for redressing the iniquities of society on those who are poor, who are oppressed, who are suppressed. In the past position in this reading, for the last incarnation, this is kind of how they were seen at the end of their lives. And this is also recent past for the present incarnation. So for Eleanor Roosevelt, this means that she was viewed as extremely progressive, heralding on and bringing on substantial and important changes that helped improve the quality of life for humans. And she was a champion of progressive causes. And also Stacy Abrams, this in the recent past, having successfully fought voter suppression, getting a huge turnout in Georgia, so that we did get Ossoff and Warnock, and we have the lead in the Senate, and shining a light also on the voter suppression, not just in Georgia, but all over the country. Underneath is the world. So both of these women, their incarnations are very similar to this card in the sense that they are world servers. They are here, they are incarnated to lift us up. They are bringing in higher energies to the human race. They are here to help us lift up to the ideal of what it is to be a human, to the highest resonance. in the future. So the future is a funny card for, you know, incarnation readings. But the future card for a past incarnation is really what the end of their lives was taking place, and also for the present incarnation, what's coming up for them. For Eleanor Roosevelt, my guides say that this is them being championed, being lauded by the world for their efforts, being held in high esteem. So Eleanor Roosevelt, when she passed, she was held in high esteem here, and she continues to be. And Stacy Abrams, this is her being held in high esteem, and also not just that, but I think being extremely successful in her continued efforts to fight against the ever-growing voter suppression and antics of the GOP, both in you know, the federal branch, but also in the state and local branches. And she's going to be successful. She's bringing in change that is going to put an end, I believe, to voter suppression. Over time. I don't know what it's going to take, but she's going to be successful. Here is a clarifying card, meaning the general gist of both these lifetimes. These are both women bringing in fundamental changes in legislation, in awareness, in action. This is a cardinal change that is lasting, and it is wide-ranging, widespread, and it is like the lighting the way of the path, of the new path. And not just that, but bringing intangible results. The outcome card. This is an interesting card. When I asked my guides about this, they said, this is Eleanor Roosevelt being a woman who is, even though she sometimes people think of her as, you know, the wife of Franklin Roosevelt, who was a powerful figure on his own, she is an independent woman. She is a powerful woman. And so Stacy Abrams. And I also believe, on top of that, this means Stacy Abrams becoming governor of Georgia. And I know that when I asked my guides, when everybody wanted her to run as a senator, they kept on saying, no, she needs to be the governor first. Oh, no. People wanted her to run for president. That's right. And my guide said, she needs to be a governor before she does anything else. She has a role to play there. It's very important that she fulfills that. We'll see if that happens, but this is what I believe this card means. I encourage you to read more on both Eleanor Roosevelt and Stacey Abrams. I gave you very little information, especially about Stacey. I couldn't find that much, but it was a cursory study or a cursory search. I don't know anything about her childhood. And I couldn't find any pictures except for one picture of her as a little girl. The majority of her pictures are of her as an adult. So maybe she's the kind of person that likes to be private. But I don't know much about her. But if anybody wants to fill in the comments, you know, more information about her, I'd love to have it. I hope you enjoyed that reading. I don't know what you think about that, but it was interesting to do. And I love Stacey Abrams. You know, she's in my heart. She is superhuman, super woman, like a superhero for me, and for I'm sure all of us who have just been watching her in awe, going, "Oh my God, where did she come from? Thank God she's here." And I wanted you to know today, Joe Biden made an executive order that is with the intent to fix voter iniquities and to stop voter suppression. That's very exciting. I just read that before I started this video. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was I have noticed that with the impeachment trial, the last one, and also this whole, attempt to get the COVID relief package passed. I want to kind of caution people, and I hope I'm right in doing so, but it's just my feeling that we are driven by these narratives. The narratives that the Democrats are weak and they always fold, or this Democrat's evil, and boo, hiss. And I think that's because we're so jaded from the Trump years. But we need to be careful because we're jumping to conclusions with information. Sometimes we only have partial information. And in this case, and I was listening to Hal Sparks. I don't know if anybody listens to him. I really love listening to him. He was talking about how the reason that Kirsten Sinema and some of the other Democrats voted down, including the $15 minimum wage increase in this particular bill, was because, not that she didn't want it, but the problem is that that particular piece of the bill would have required 60 votes. Remember, the parliamentarian wouldn't allow it to go along with the rest of the substance of that bill. So if we had tried to get it passed, we would not have been able to. I mean, we barely got it passed with our majority. That is why they didn't want that bill in there. But the narrative was making it seem as if Kirsten Sinema is a horrible person and evil, and all the other Democrats are evil that voted it down. The reason that they did, though, which I think was to the benefit of the bill, is that we had to get it passed. So that $15 minimum wage is something that needs to be in a separate bill on its own. So be careful when you see, our favorite media people getting angry and, being pretty self-righteous about it, because we do some research. We have to be careful. We can't be sheep the way that Trump's base was manipulated by the media. So please, let's not be manipulated by our emotions, especially, fear, anger, frustration. It feels good to be angry at something, I guess, and, kind of fold your arms and stamp your feet and feel self-righteous about something, but be sure that self-righteousness is earned and not at the benefit of those who like the Democratic Party to split and not be a cohesive whole, and to the detriment also of the people who are really sacrificing so much to clean up aisle 45. And I'm not saying that, I love the fact that Manchin's so conservative, but I think he has to be to represent his state. And we have to respect that. We have to respect people's differing opinions and just understand maybe more about the workings of some of these things. Politics there's so much that, is hidden in the way that things are dealt with. It's not always what it seems. So please take a breath and relax and be joyous that we have this amazing bill, this COVID relief package that's going to save so many lives and help so many people. And it looks like it's on its way. I think Tuesday is when it's supposed to completely be passed and on trajectory to be signed by President Biden. If you want to come at me for what I said, that's okay. But I just have been worried about how easy it is to manipulate us, and me included. I can get really angry if I see like some kind of headline or some pundit on television, telling me why I should be upset, why somebody's so horrible. I realized after hearing Hal Sparks speak that I really need to be a little bit more careful. I think it was okay being really angry at Trump because Trump was horrible and all that energy was deserved. But regarding the Democrats, and not that we shouldn't take them to task when they need to be taken to task, etc. We need to fight for what we want. But in terms of being manipulated by again, I call them narratives, these stories that get created that may or may not be based in 100% fact, that I'm warning people about. Saying that, I want to read our oracle card that my guides gave us. Again, because I'm loving this deck, from the Whispers of Healing. This is by Angela Hartfield, illustrations by Josephine Wall. The oracle card that we are given, Replenish. Replenish. It is not possible to be happy or at your best all the time. Having depleted energy or off days is a natural part of everyday life. However, it is how you manage these times when you are energetically low that's important. It's imperative to take care of your emotional energy just as you take care of your physical well-being. This means addressing fear, depression, mood swings, anger, or feeling drained. Have strategies for coping and replenishing yourself, such as an exercise program, meditation, walking in nature. Identify ways of regrouping and gaining control of your energy. There are benefits to scheduling, if you can, a day each month that is just for you. This day can be whatever you like it to be. Sleep in, watch a favorite movie, while enjoying a favorite treat, make a dinner date with a friend, or just catch up for a chat. Doing something that makes you feel good will help you revitalize yourself. When you're in a healing process, depression can be a challenge. Make sure you take steps to address depression early on. Talk to people about how you feel. And if you need, get help organizing time for something you enjoy. Replenish. And I think a really nice way of replenishing is going on a bit of a juice fast or a juice detox. Even having one juice in the morning will really help revitalize your energy. It's an easy way, I think. Saying that, I am available for personal readings. I read anything in the present, including past and present, or future in the present. I do past life readings. I love to introduce you to your guardian angels, and I'm also a medium. I left my information below in the description, and also please stick around for the musical interlude. My information is at the end of that outro. I love you guys. I feel so blessed to be able to do this channel, and we have a fantastic community here. Thank you for being with me. I will be back next week. Take care. Bye.